The masses are going to go through every ailment there is. You can't be worrying about that, because if we keep worrying about the trouble that the masses are in, we never cultivate anything among ourselves to get to the high level in which the masses are going to be a part of. Because ultimately, all this shit got to be destroyed. This shit is over.
I am inevitable.
All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Night Day Network. We are live. We got to get into these topics, y'all. We got to get into it. We got to stay on. We got to stay on course. So we got the Clintons linked to all types of organized crime, allegedly. Of course, ties to Epstein, and we got to get into why they're trying to shut these Marines up from speaking out of the truth about them going to war with Israel and trying to take over the Middle East.
You mean Israel and the United States going to war with Iran?
Yeah,
take over the United States.
Yeah, but Israel.
I mean, to take over the world.
The United States going to take over the Middle East. So we got to get into it. They want to stop people from speaking out against it.
Yeah.
Of course. So we got to get into it, y'all. Please double tap that screen to like this video while you come up in here, because we got to get into it. We got to get into these wicked devils.
Corruption.
So everybody I'm pretty much sure everyone probably seen the guy arm that they broke, the Marine.
Oh man,
who was at the war meeting, because they talking about them supporting Israel and all that. So it's Marines, vets that's not going along with the plan, and they had every right to. Like, why are we getting involved with war and we almost $40 trillion in debt? Why should we be even getting in wars? Where the money coming from anyway? So this Marine was at the conference or whatever, the sit-in that they had, and he started telling them that going to wars, no one wants to fight for Israel. So the police breaks the former Marine Sergeant Brian McGinnis for opposing the war against Iran at Congress. So let's get into this real quick. I mean, them cops were so rough with this guy. I'm like, damn, like, really? Didn't make any sense.
How they treat the veterans.
What's the fight for Israel?
Oh, you heard his response?
Why are you here? Why are you getting arrested?
Free Palestine, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. Palestine will be free.
Oh my God, they broke his arm.
No one wants to fight for Israel.
Man, you heard his joint crack. You heard that joint snack. Wow. That is insane. I was trying to find the full version of this. I thought I had the full version. Let me get this full version real quick. I don't know why they trying to prevent people from speaking out. Like, people got all right to speak out. Not everybody's trying to go along with them going to war with Iran.
I don't know if any American in their right mind would support this war. I mean, America needs to take care of itself right now. We can't be worrying about what's going on in Iran and all of that. We $38 trillion in debt, and we got stuff going on within our own country that we got to deal with.
Exactly.
This is getting out of hand. I mean, I guess this is going to take the citizens to stand up to do something about this.
And that's what's happening. That is what's happening. Citizens, like
that's what needs to happen.
Right. All right, let me send this one. Yeah, the citizens gonna have to, because these wicked individuals are just getting out of hand. Now they want to go inside Iran and they want to basically take over all Iran resources,
like they did Venezuela.
Right, which is 27 trillion in resources, from crude oil to gold to different lithium, I think, think they're big holders of lithium. So yeah, they want to go
More
take off
oil.
more oil. Yeah,
Yeah.
and all this is tied to the Epstein all the Epstein shit because a lot of these people were Epstein was involved with. All right, here it go. This is the one I was looking for. All right.
Fight this war for Israel. Let's go. Come on, let's go.
So they roughing him up. Crazy.
America does not want to send its sons and daughters to war for Israel. Your inability to name that shows your existence as leaders. America does not want to fight this war for Israel. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Out. No one wants to fight for Israel. Out. No one. Stop. And nobody wants to fight for Israel. Reminder to all our Commandant, please stand up as a Marine. Stand up for a now.
Hey, rough as hell. Now, mind you, it was a senator that was trying to help them escort this person out of there. This Tim Sheehy, whatever the hell his name is. This is the senator that was helping the police escort the guy out of there, and that's how his arm got broken. This is crazy though. So these people, I gotta show y'all this too, because a lot of people think that the Jewish community in America supports Israel, and they don't. They don't. The regular day-to-day Jewish community, they do not support the Zionist movement.
So they sending our troops over there to war for Israel, but not to protect. It don't have nothing to do with protecting American citizens. It's really about expanding the control that Israel have over the Middle East.
Yeah.
Because they want to take over more than just Palestine.
Yeah.
And they needed the oil from Venezuela to be able to continue in those efforts, because as soon as Trump acquired that oil from Venezuela, what they started doing, sending barrel after barrel over to Israel.
Yep. These people are burning the Israel flag. These Jewish people in New York, they ain't holding, protests, and they burning the Israel flag, the Star of David, showing that they're not in support of this war that's going on. They're not in support of it. No.
Well, those people over there that's running Israel ain't real Jews.
They're Zionists.
They're not real Jews. You can't even call them that. Really, they Satanists.
Right.
They doing all it. They worshiping all these weird gods and all this bullshit that they do over there. They're definitely not Jews. What do they call it? The synagogue of Satan.
Satan. Absolutely. So, I mean, people just not going along with this. Like, all right.
We don't have nothing against real Jews, but we don't like those Zionists and those Satan worshipers over there that's running Israel. Those are not real Jews. And it's unfortunate they brainwashed some of the real Jews. They brainwashed them, because they're politics always brainwash people, though. Whether it's Jewish, whether you Democrat, whether you Republican, you're brainwashed dealing with politics. Because none of them people in politics, none of them care about us.
No.
None of them.
All right, so I definitely wanted to pull this up because people need to understand what this war is about. It's about taking over resources. It's about rebuilding new infrastructure, tearing down the old and rebuilding new infrastructure. That's what they aim is That's what the aim is. So, all right. So this right here is the reason why they attacking Iran. It's very little to do with the regime change. It's very little to do with nuclear weapons too. The major reason is natural resources Iran holds. So here's everything Iran currently has: 208 billion barrels of crude oil worth 13.9 trillion, third largest in the world. 1,200 trillion cubic feet of natural gas worth 3.18 trillion. It's the second largest in the world. 320 metric tons of gold worth 54 billion. Apart from this, Iran also has a substantial amount of silver, copper, iron, ore, lithium, zinc, and rare resources. As per current estimates, these all have a combined worth of 27.3 trillion. This is more than China's and Germany's GDP and almost 80% of the US GDP. Yeah, so this is their reasons for going into Iran. Iran has a large amount of resources that they want to take over. Yeah. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Yeah, this is the reason. It's not about them being a threat, because they already been saying over the years that Iran is not a threat. Trump didn't said it. All the other politicians didn't said Iran is not a threat. Iran is not a threat. They've been saying Iran wasn't a threat, but now all of a sudden they a threat. They have nuclear weapons. That's not the reason. I just read to you the real reason. They need all that resources right there, because that's what they're gonna use to rebuild the world with. So that's what they over there really warring for, y'all. All right. So I don't understand how we can afford any more being $38 trillion in debt. That's insane.
X.
That's insane. All right, so we gotta get into this Clinton. We gotta get into this Clinton shit real quick. Let's get into a quick commercial. We'll be right back after these messages. This video is sponsored by 90dayherbals.com. All right, let's get into this. We'll be right back.
If you crave nature but still shop online, Night and Day Herbals is your dream come true. Discover premium herbal soaps, shampoos, and CBD products. All organic, all for you. Shop now at nightanddayherbals.com.
All right, the links to our shop is in the description of this video. Make sure y'all check us out, 90dayherbals.com, and the link is pinned to the top of the chat. All right, we gotta get into this. So the Clintons, y'all know they recently did a deposition. Hillary and Bill did a deposition. And it didn't really go over too well, especially with Hillary Clinton. I mean, she eventually got heated and stormed out the deposition when they start asking her certain questions that she, that was, I guess they was, the questions that they asked wasn't pertaining to the script, because they're gonna vet the questions they're gonna ask them. So I guess one of the, senators or representatives asked her a question that wasn't supposed to be asked, and she kind of got mad and stormed out. So we have this ex-CIA agent, Robert Steele, who basically broke down that the Clinton Foundation is allegedly wrapped up in a lot of organized crime. They're responsible for a lot of organized crime, which we're gonna get into. Let me switch to this real quick. So, and the Clintons was trying to act like they wasn't tied to Jeffrey Epstein, which we all know they were. So Robert Steele, David Steele, Norway interview, Clinton Foundation biggest organized crime family. I know. This is on King of Comedy channel. Let's go ahead and get into this real quick.
The details. And the thing is that Jens Stoltenberg was, this is an accusation that I cannot confirm, but this says that Jens Stoltenberg agreed to do this, and he was promised that he would become the top honcho at NATO for doing this.
Has he become?
Yes, he has.
Interesting. What I know from my other sources in reading is that France is the country that decided to take down Libya. But Hillary Clinton, through the Clinton Foundation, received tens of millions of dollars from France, from Norway, in fact, the Clinton Foundation has contributed, which I think is very unwise. Norwegian citizens should be asking, why is the government of Norway giving Norwegian money to the Clinton Foundation, which in any given year gives no more than $5 million to actual charity?
What happens to the rest of the millions?
It's being stolen. Actually, it's billions. It's being stolen. The Clinton Foundation is the biggest organized crime family that I know of. And they are taking in money. For example, Hillary Clinton took money from the Russians to sell American uranium to Russia. She took money from the Saudi Arabians to sell Syria and Yemen to Saudi Arabia and to justify ISIS and protect ISIS. Hillary Clinton is probably the single most corrupt politician in US history since Lyndon Baines Johnson. And as Secretary of State, money would come into the Clinton Foundation and US support would go out. And it goes back to this coup that we've had. The banks and the neocons have insisted that they control war as a profit center in return for allowing very moderate and often badly designed public health and education and other initiatives to go forward. The United States is a war economy, and it's a war economy that is treating the people of the United States as ammunition and as fodder. Okay, it's the people in the United States don't matter to the mandarins that are running the United States.
It's also a war economy that's running at a deficit of $1 trillion a year. Today is actually the 15th of March, where you're hitting the debt ceiling, and the Congress, they're going to have to sit down and discuss whether to raise it.
Well, I hope they don't raise the debt ceiling, and I think that's one of the reasons that Donald Trump has been so aggressive about cutting the federal budget. Now, he's made some bad decisions also. And again, his giving more money to the military is an example of a bad decision. And it's also an example of a decision he might have felt he was forced to make because of the war economy. The reality about the American military is that we have a very expensive military that cannot fight and win wars. And Norway is foolish to buy anything from the Americans. The F-35, for example, is a piece of junk, and it kills pilots with the stealth chemicals. It can't loiter very long. It can't fly very far. It can't carry a heavy load. And it's optimized for a warm, non-humid day, which doesn't happen very often in Norway.
What I've heard is, and again, I'm not an expert in this matter, but I've read somewhere that if you put this F-35 fighters in the air for 30 minutes or an hour, whatever, it needs about 3 weeks on the ground for.
I believe that. And I'll tell you something, it also has problems in the rain. Okay, so when I came to Norway, I was hoping to talk to your defense people that do programming, because when I created the Marine Corps Intelligence Command, General Gray, the commandant, asked me to create an intelligence center that would support acquisition, what we buy, what we build. I will tell you straight up, I think your defense acquisition process is corrupt because they're not making decisions based on evidence. They're making decisions based on political mandates. I can't say this more clearly. It is criminally insane for Norway to buy the F-35. The Russians will kill that airplane very quickly. It is a rotten airplane. It is way too much money, and it won't.
So we basically going to wars that we can't even really afford or win. And they saying America is not going to win this war, trying to go to war with Iran. Like, and we're going to get into that real quick. We're going to get into that.
We can't afford the war.
No.
$38 trillion of debt, and we still giving our money to this government that's doing all types of evil things with it.
Yep. Yeah, this is insane.
It's only a matter of time before America collapses completely.
Right. All right, so we gotta get into this. This is Professor Jiang predicts that U.S. will lose to Iran. So he recently did an interview with Crystal Sager, joined Professor Jiang in the discussion of U.S. war on Iran, because and he basically breaks down why America is going to have a tough time trying to win this war against Iran.
Sound.
Sound?
Nah.
All right, let me reshare this, y'all. Hold on. Let me reshare this real quick. All right. All right, here we go. All right. So as he explains basically how this Iran could destroy America let's get into it.
They have a pretty good strategy of how to weaken and ultimately destroy the American empire. So what the Iranians are doing is they're waging war against the entire global economy. And so they are striking the GCC countries. And not only are they striking GCC countries, American bases, they're going after the critical energy infrastructure of these bases. They blocked off the Strait of Hormuz. And eventually, they will go after the water desalination plants, which is the lifeblood of these nations because they don't have fresh water supply. In fact, the water desalination plants provide 60% of the GCC's water supply. So if a drone, and these drones cost $50,000, if they wiped out a desalination plant in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and it's a city of 10 million people, right? They'd be out of water in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. And right now, the Iranians have de facto closed off the Strait of Hormuz, and the GCC gets 90% of its food from the Strait of Hormuz. So I know a lot of people are talking about the disruptions to the global economy, but right now, the Iranians are actually threatening the very existence of Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar. And why this is important is that the Gulf states are really the linchpin of the American economy. So what they do is they sell petrodollars and then they recycle the petrodollars back into the American economy through the investments in the stock market. And right now, we know that the entire American economy is propped up by AI investments in data centers. And a lot of that comes from the Gulf states. So if the Gulf states are no longer able to sell oil and they're no longer able to finance AI, this AI bubble in the United States, then this AI bubble will burst, and with it will burst as well the entire American economy, which is really a financial Ponzi scheme. Right. So that's a dire situation that the Americans are facing right now, and now they have a pretty good.
So that's crazy. What you think of that?
We in over our heads, but I think that was the plan. That's the plan, though. They sending us to war so they could collapse the rest of the economy because they want to restart the economy with digital currency and tokenization.
Right.
So one of the best ways to run out the rest of the money and increase the debt ceiling even higher to the point it crumbles down is war. Because you see what Robert Steele say, our military is the most expensive on the planet, but it's a crappy military because all the stuff that we overpaying for stuff that don't even barely work. So it's a done deal. It's a done deal. They just going to keep on pushing these wars, and the debt ceiling is going to go higher and higher to the point where everything collapses in on itself. And then we're like, oh, we need a savior. We need a savior. The next thing you know, cryptocurrency and stable coins and CBDCs, all that is going to basically come to the forefront. And they're going to tokenize all the assets. And that's basically what this is all about.
Right.
That's what this is all about. That's the end game. That's their end game. A cashless society is their end game. First, they got to collapse the old system, and they collapse the old system through war. War is the way they do it.
All right, we got to get into back into Hillary. Hillary Clinton.
Hillary.
All right, this is talking about Hillary and the bloodlines that she belonged to. Let's get it.
Sound.
There's no sound. We good on sound?
Nope.
All right, hold on, y'all. Trying to share this. Man. Don't know how the sound keep going on like that. All right.
It's a good faker, but it's not her. They would not be pulling her in. They would not be treating her that way if it was the real Hillary, because people feared her. They feared the things that they witnessed her do. And, you know, there's no way that they would be doing the stuff that they're doing. Who's really giving the schools, the sheriffs, the communities, the ability to traffic these children while not being held to account? It's your courts, your judges, your lawyers. And what was her past? A lawyer, right? Who is she protecting in that? That's her duty. That's her brotherhood vow, is to cover her brother's sin. Who are all the brother's sins she's covering? Well, you know, where'd the laptop come from? What's the connection there? Werner was a past boyfriend, husband, partner of Huma Abedin, right? The very person that she's engaging in that movie Frazzled Drip with in killing a child, you know, who's now married to Soros's son, who was a councilman, the phoenix of a council, right? Boy, the world is small. It just keeps turning around. They just continue to cover, you know, the sins. It's not her. It's a good faker.
Yeah, another thing, man. That deposition with them was a waste of time. It was a waste of time for them to even be up there asking them questions, because it really led to nothing, really. You know what? No one was held accountable. Like, if y'all didn't have nothing criminal on these people, then what's the point of interviewing them at the? What's the point of a deposition if you ain't have no criminal? If they ain't under no criminal investigation? It just
Political
makes no
theater.
sense.
It's called political theater, just to make it look like they doing something about it, because they getting a lot of calls from
Right.
American citizens complaining why they letting the Clintons off. Why they letting these people off? All these people had ties to Epstein. How come they not going to jail? So they're like, oh, we got to do something. We got to make the people think we're doing something. So they hold these depositions and they have them come in there and answer a bunch of questions on camera. So it could just be political theater. That's all it is. Because nothing is going to get done. They're not going to slap the handcuffs on themselves and take themselves into prison. The
You said
citizens have to revolt at this point,
right.
because they're telling you, people who government whistleblowers, and people who was in the CIA, people who was in politics, is telling you that it's all the people in high places that's supposed to do something about the crime are the ones that's actually committing the crimes.
Right.
So they're not going to turn themselves in. So it's going to be up to the American people to do it. And if the American people never do it, it's just going to get worse and worse. And these people know they can commit crimes right in front of our faces, and nobody's going to do nothing about it.
All right.
We just going to concern ourselves with the next event that they cook up for us, worrying about how we're going to pay our bills, worry about how we're going to pay our taxes, worry about how we're going to get to work, worry about gas prices, all this stuff that they keep distracting us with and throwing in front of our faces, while they commit all the wicked atrocities that they do all around the world using our tax dollars and the power that we give them. They're committing these crimes with the power that we give them, and we just not mad enough, because we ain't revolting. Collectively, people should be revolting. I don't even know how this system is even still continuing, knowing that these wicked people are the ones that's basically that we're working for.
Right.
We're basically working for, and they supposed to be working for us. Like these politicians and all that, they supposed to be in service to the public, but it's the complete opposite way around. The people is in service to the government.
Serene, Soul asks, was Frazzled Drip? You said you heard of that before. Well, there was a thing where Hillary and some other woman was caught on camera. Like, it was a video, supposedly, allegedly a video of them sacrificing a baby and drinking the blood. It's like Hillary Clinton and some other woman. And supposedly there was law enforcement that seen that video, and somehow 9 New York officers committed suicide within close proximity of each other, like the same precinct. It was 9 officers within the same precinct that committed suicide. Now, this was supposed to be the officers that was witnesses to seeing the tape with allegedly, Hillary Clinton and the other woman sacrificing the baby, like cutting up the baby, sacrificing and drinking his blood. That's what those 9 officers supposedly witnessed when they seen on that tape. Now, where's the tape at? Magically, the tape is probably in some vault somewhere, or destroyed, or if this even was a tape. But yeah, that was the Frazzled Drip thing. If you heard that before, that was involving sacrificing. That's what that means. The Frazzled Drip is like when they sacrifice the blood drip or whatever. But yeah, them killer emails. And it so happens some of those emails was Epstein emails. To tell you the truth, some of those emails that Hillary's was in Hillary's email some of those was Epstein. Some of those was Epstein emails, which of course on the Epstein side they was redacted. So yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, ain't it? Matter of fact, I think, let me see if I see something. Yeah, please make sure y'all double tap the screen, like this video. All right. All right, here's it go. I'm gonna pull this up real quick. Here it goes. It says Hillary Clinton. It says Clinton was asked about PizzaGate conspiracy during Epstein probe. Let me pull this up because I think this is when she snapped out and got mad because they asked her about PizzaGate. Because she was involved. Her name was surrounded in that was involved with the whole PizzaGate theory or whatever. Let me see. Hold on. All right. Hold on, y'all. Pull this up. All right, let me know we got Sam.
In past public statements,
Yep.
As in 2017 speeches and interviews, you described PizzaGate as a baseless conspiracy theory, alleging you and others ran a child sex trafficking ring from a Washington pizzeria basement. Have you reviewed any 2025-2026 Epstein files that were released that you believe reference or relate to those specific 2016 claims regarding the Podesta emails, Comet Ping Pong Pizza used as code possibly?
I'm sorry. You're asking her about whether she's reviewed emails in the Epstein files which relate to the wacky PizzaGate scam.
You could characterize it however you want. I just would like to know if she's familiar with any of them.
So excuse me, your question is about whether or not she has reviewed any emails in the Epstein release files about PizzaGate.
Correct.
PizzaGate was totally made up. It was an outrageous allegation that ended up hurting a number of people, that caused a deranged young man to show up with his assault rifle and shoot up a local pizzeria. I can't believe you're even referencing it. You should be.
There are connections to the language.
Well, the QAnon people believe there are. So
I don't know what QAnon people believe.
Have at it.
But you've accused certain parties, and I think even right now today, of promoting slow walking information in ways that fuels conspiracies. In your view, did any Epstein Maxwell related investigations or file handling pre or post 2019 contribute to or intersect with the spread of Pizzagate style theories about Democrat figures?
Objection.
I have no way of answering. That is the most
speculation.
Ridiculously.
Have you or your representatives identified any Epstein file content that has been misinterpreted online to revive those claims? And what steps, if any, have you taken to clarify?
Again, object on the ground of
I think that this is all very reasonable.
Well, first of all, I don't follow the crazy conspiracy stories that are online. I regret that anybody does. I find it quite sad, but also disturbing that people would believe some of what is put forth, like Pizzagate. So I have taken no steps to review anything that might have any connection to something which I think is totally bogus.
John Podesta, your 2016 campaign chair, appears in some Epstein file contexts. Social overlaps are mentioned. Were you aware of any of the Podesta-related communications in the released files?
Can you please provide examples or the evidence that you would like us to review, or the exhibits that reflect that?
I can get some exhibits and pause this question in the meantime.
You provide those.
I will get those, and I will skip that question until we can.
Generally, if she's aware.
Generally, she is asking if she's aware of specific information that is in the files that you all are relying on. Please provide the witness with copies of that material.
Doesn't know or has no recollection, she's welcome to state so.
We're also welcome to actually see the information that you're speaking to.
And again, the representative is asking general.
I mean, really, I expected a lot of interesting questions today, but Pizzagate was not on my list.
See, they threw her off.
It's okay. We're asking all sorts of things here.
You certainly are. You certainly are.
We're just trying to get the truth out to the American people.
Well, that would
and
be
some clarity.
very helpful.
Are you aware of any files that were on Anthony Weiner's laptop in a folder that was titled insurance, life insurance, with a zip file titled Frazzled Drip?
This is the chairman's ruling.
This is way
within the scope. Is this within the scope, Mr. Chairman?
If the chairman rules that it's not within the scope.
Mr. Chairman, based on what you said in the public hearing, is this within the scope?
We can go off the record for a moment.
Mr. Chairman, is this within the scope?
We'll go off the record
and can talk. Let me pull up the rest of that. Hold on, y'all. I have to pull this up. Hold on. Yeah, she was getting hyped. They asked about that PizzaGate. She got hyped. She got hyped.
Answer your question.
Now you're gonna
This was what I spent. You asked the question. I'm going to answer your question.
Now you're going to
This was what I spent my time doing.
I'm a survivor trying to look out for other survivors.
And I was taking care of the people who lost 3,000 lives.
And now thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, thank you for returning this afternoon. Secretary Clinton, is your husband someone the committee should investigate?
My husband will be here tomorrow. You'll have a chance to ask him questions.
So my question is your husband someone this committee should investigate?
Ask and answer.
Apparently you are. You've subpoenaed him. He's going to be here tomorrow.
In your testimony before the break, you discussed why you believe President Trump should testify before our committee due to a, quote, pattern of behavior, end quote. You testified that a pattern of behavior warrants accountability. So I want to make sure I understand your standard correctly. The pattern of behavior you describe includes being held civilly liable, indictments, sexually deviant behavior, correct?
Yes.
In 1998, your husband was found civilly liable for sexual misconduct with Paula Jones and settled for $850,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
By your standard of pattern of behavior, should your husband testify before this committee?
He is testifying tomorrow.
On December 19th, 1998, President Clinton was impeached on charges of perjury and obstruction of justice, which directly related to his extramarital affair with Monica Lewinsky. Is that correct?
Yes.
And your husband was impeached for perjury related to sexual behavior, correct?
I didn't understand what you said.
Your husband was impeached for perjury related to sexual behavior, his sexual behavior.
He was impeached for several reasons, and then was acquitted in the Senate.
And your husband flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane 17 to 26 times, correct?
He made several trips with different legs on the trip, as I recall.
But he flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane 17 to 26 times? Mm-hmm. Were you aware that Secret Service was dropped on some of those flights?
That is not my understanding.
Were they not on some of those flights?
That is not my understanding.
So your understanding is that Secret Service was on all of the flights that President Clinton was on?
That is my understanding.
By this standard of behavior, multiple credible accusers, including Juanita Broderick, who alleged rape against your husband. Your husband was disbarred in Arkansas, lost his law license before the Supreme Court, flew on Epstein's plane dozens of times, visited Epstein's island.
That is not true. That is absolutely untrue.
Well, there's documentation in the DOJ files. I'm not sure you're aware, your attorneys have told you, but Jeffrey Epstein told one of the victims to lie to investigators, to lie that Bill Clinton was ever on Epstein Island. I can provide that document to you.
We would like that document, please.
Yeah,
Okay,
counsel,
I can
because
do
actually the files say just the opposite. Epstein himself denied he was.
These are FBI notes from an interview with a victim, and I can get you the victim number and the case number and the files. These are notes from a 302
If
interview.
you'd like those, are you going to provide those now?
I don't. That's not my line of questioning. She brought it up, but I have a
I'm
document.
sorry,
I can get to
you're
you.
making a representation as to the fact.
I didn't enter anything as an exhibit.
But it's factually inaccurate.
No, I can give it to you later. I can go find the document, make copies of it, and give it to you this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Okay. By your standard of pattern of behavior, according to documents released by the Department of Justice, your husband appears in photos in swimming pools, hot tubs, aboard Jeffrey Epstein's private plane with unidentified young women. We came here today and told this committee, you told this committee that a pattern of behavior demands accountability, correct?
I said that I believe the committee should call anyone who had a substantial pattern and practice of contact with Jeffrey Epstein and his crimes before they came to light.
Does that include your husband?
And after they came to light. You're going to have a chance to question him tomorrow.
So I'll ask you again, by the standard you just set in your own words just now, does this standard apply equally to your husband or only President Trump?
I have said that my husband has been subpoenaed. He will appear. He will answer your questions to the best of his ability. But there is no evidence whatsoever of any connection with Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. And I think that that will be obviously apparent in the questioning.
What makes you so sure of that then? I mean, he's photographed.
Objection is to speculate on something that's not.
Yeah, it is so speculative. I mean, swimming in a pool, sitting in a hot tub, there are millions of people who do that without any improper behavior or certainly committing any crimes. So I think
most of the men are like your husband that did anything wrong by where they're being surrounded by young women, giving them massages on Jeffrey's private estate or private plane? Are they all innocent then?
You know, you are making assumptions in your questions that have not been proven and I don't believe are provable.
Okay. Why did you wait 6 months to have this hearing today or have this testimony?
You know, I've answered that. I thought that given the way that other witnesses who were subpoenaed at the same time were being treated, that there was an unfair treatment of both my husband and myself. And I thought that, especially from my perspective, I had very little, if any, information to provide you, and that I could have done it in a sworn statement and you could have moved on to depose somebody else who might have more information that would be beneficial to your
I have two more questions, and we're going to pass it to Congresswoman Luna. After Jeffrey Epstein was convicted, did it concern you at all that you had taken a substantial amount of money from Jeffrey Epstein?
That's an inappropriate assumption. I did not take a substantial amount of money from Jeffrey Epstein. So far as I know, Jeffrey Epstein contributed to the joint committee that was supporting my Senate race.
Which was how much?
I believe I was told $20,000.
And you don't consider $20,000 substantial?
I do not consider it relevant to me because I had no recollection that I ever knew that he gave any money to the joint committee. So you didn't talk to your donors that gave $20,000 to your campaign? My understanding of the rules back then is that there was no coordination between the committee and the campaign. So no, I have no recollection.
But that doesn't mean you can't speak to your donors. That doesn't prohibit, the law does not prohibit you speaking to donors.
But I didn't know he was a donor. As far as I knew, he was not a donor until I learned this in preparation for the testimony. Did it concern you at all that Ghislaine Maxwell was heavily involved with people you knew and were close to? I knew people that I knew her. Yes, that's true.
And you just shrugged, you didn't want to look into it or
nobody,
question about it?
Until her crimes were revealed and she was indicted and tried and convicted, I don't think people knew very much about at all.
And then how do you know Howard Lutnick?
I know Howard Lutnick because when I was senator, On 9/11, the firm he headed, Cantor Fitzgerald, suffered the greatest loss of life. As I recall, something like 650 of his employees were murdered by terrorists that day. Howard Lutnick missed being a victim because he was delayed dropping his child off to kindergarten. You asked the question. I'm going to answer your question.
Now you're going to
This was what I spent my time doing.
I'm a survivor trying to look out for other survivors.
And I was taking care of the people who lost 3,000 lives
and now you're being
at World
defiant
Trade
and
Center.
indignant today.
You asked me
I have
about
met
Howard
with
Lutnick.
Epstein survivors. I'm a survivor myself. You have emails. You've denied that Jeffrey Epstein, that you tried to get Jeffrey Epstein to give money to you.
I did not.
Howard Lutnick was
If
used
you
to
have an
get
email
money.
with me asking Jeffrey Epstein
I have
for
an
money,
email from Howard Lutnick sending it to
what's
Jeffrey
the
Epstein
question?
and
What's
his
the-
people to
I
raise
don't-
money for
I don't
you
know
for
about-
an event, an intimate event for you at his offices
Well,
at Cantor Fitzgerald. You're
look,
going to sit
if
here
you-
today
if you would let me finish.
obfuscate and say to this committee, you didn't try to get money from Jeffrey
I didn't.
Epstein when
I
there was
didn't.
an intimate event in an email that Howard Lutnick emailed to Epstein's people and Epstein to get him to come to your intimate event at Cantor Fitzgerald, a very small event. And so I'm not going to put it. You want to yell at me, that's fine, but I'll yell right back.
Well,
okay? I am looking out for
it's
survivors.
very-
I'm doing
look.
the job that you would not do and refuse to do as Secretary of State. Thank you, and I yield back to
No,
Congresswoman.
I'm going to finish answering the question, which I have a right to do. I am very sympathetic to your personal situation. I have read about it. I have seen you testify or speak on the floor about it. And I very much sympathize with not only what you went through, but appreciate your effort to stand up for survivors. I was a senator representing the people who were murdered on 9/11. Nobody lost more people than Howard Lutnick. You can say whatever you want. You can call him and have him appear before the committee. But I knew him as the man who lost the employees that he knew intimately, including his brother.
And he was a
so
double
I
threat
worked.
between you and
Let
Jeffrey
her finish
Epstein
her
raising
answer,
money
please.
for you.
Let her finish her answer.
You know what? If you don't want to hear what emotionally affected me, that's fine. But that's why I know Howard Lutnick. I went to the memorial service every 9/11 after the formal service was held.
I see what you're
with
doing here,
all-
and you're
with
obfuscating
all
from
of
the
his
questions. He was
people, the
go-between
families.
between you and Jeffrey Epstein raising money for
Well, you know, Howard Lutnick and I did
Thank
work
you. I will
together
now yield
because
to
we had a
Congresswoman
lot of
Warner.
victims
Thank you.
to take care of, and we worked together to rebuild downtown Manhattan. That is how I know Howard Lutnick.
Without objection.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Madam
that's how.
President.
Oh shit! Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to pause this. Trying to pause it. Hillary know damn well. Hillary know damn well.
He answered those questions like a mob boss.
Hell yeah.
To tell you the truth, somebody asked she going to jail or what? No. They're not going to arrest them. They're not going to arrest themselves. There's no one in the government powerful enough to arrest Hillary Clinton right now.
Hell no.
Or Bill or Trump or anybody else y'all want to get arrested. There's no one powerful enough to do it and they're not going to arrest themselves. These people have 100% immunity. They could do whatever they want. They could kill you in broad daylight in front of everybody and get away with it. And there ain't nothing anybody going to do about it. That's basically how things been ran in the United States for decades now.
Yep.
These politicians, these businessmen, these execs and all these people that are on the Epstein list, they're untouchable. Obviously. We sitting back waiting for the government to lock themselves up. It's never going to happen. This deposition that we looking at is all political theater. They asking them questions for what? It's not going to lead to anything. They just going to sit there and deny everything, say it's all conspiracy theory. They don't have no recollection of this. No, that never happened. No, that's not the truth. No, we're innocent. No, all we care, we love the American people. We care about the American people. We was just there to protect America. That's all you're going to get from them.
Right.
And nothing is going to happen. unless the general public do it themselves, and I don't see that happening no time soon.
I know, right? And this the reason why. All right, so the bloodlines of the beast. It's the bloodlines of the beast. This is why right here. No sound? But that's why you saying they got immunity. This is why. I was about to play this. Let me reshare this real quick. This goes right into this video right here, what you were saying. All right. All right, so this is former CIA agent. He's dead now, but this is Robert David Steele. This is why these people are, he breaks down why these people are protected.
Clinton basically have a national security waiver. It gives them a get out of jail free card for all of the crimes they've committed, not only in running drugs and money through Arkansas, which they turned into an aircraft carrier for crime, but also the crimes they've committed against small children. So right now, unless the president steps in and removes that national security waiver, Bill and Hillary and Chelsea Clinton are basically immune from prosecution. What's happening is that the human traffickers are going to parents who are trying to cross the border as a family unit and saying, we can't get all of you aboard, but we can get your kid across and we can deliver them to the relative that you name. And so the parents are very stupidly giving children to these human traffickers. Okay, there's no explaining the insanity that grips a parent when they're in this kind of desperate situation. Bill and Hillary Clinton basically have a national security waiver. It gives them a get out of jail free card for all of the crimes they've committed, not only in running drugs and money through Arkansas, which they turned into an aircraft carrier for crime, but also
that's why they able to get away with it, because they given 100% immunity to do whatever they want. Yeah, a lot of drugs was funneled through Arkansas when Clinton was in office. Yeah.
Basically, they gonna die wealthy and wicked.
Yes.
Comfortable in their bed. Yep, wealthy and wicked.
They gonna die wealthy and wicked.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They gonna die wealthy and wicked and live the wicked lives that they love to live with no consequences.
Right. Said wealthy and wicked. W2W. Wealthy and wicked.
Well, that's anybody's answer if they think karma really exists. If karma really existed, then these people wouldn't be on top 24/7.
Right. Did I play this one? No. I think I played that one. No. One of these I didn't play yet. It was this one. Yeah, this is the one where Frazzled Drip was being explained. All right. So we got any sound on this?
Clinton was being asked about Frazzled Drip. That video came from a life insurance folder from Anthony Weiner's laptop. That video was said to make even the most hardened NYC police veterans cry. It's said to show Weiner's wife, Huma, and Hillary Clinton performing satanic ritual abuse on a young girl, surgically removing her face and wearing it as a mask to flood the victim's bloodstream with adrenaline. On a serious note, of the 12 officers who viewed the contents of the file labeled insurance on the laptop, 9 of them committed suicide. And let's play the video of her being asked about Frazzled Drip.
The files that were on Anthony Weiner's laptop in a folder that was titled life insurance, with a zip file titled Frazzled.
Chairman's ruling.
This is way
within the scope. Is this within the scope, Mr. Chairman?
The chairman rules that it's not within the scope.
Mr. Chairman, based on what you said in the public hearing, is this within the scope?
You can go off the record for a moment.
Mr. Chairman, is this within the scope?
Go off the record.
Now, the lady you see next to Hillary, her attorney, Cheryl Mills, she is in the files, and she's close friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. This is Cheryl Mills to Ghislaine Maxwell. G, Is today really your birthday? It's the birthday of one of my greatest friends, and it would not at all be surprising that you shared it. So happy birthday, darling. I'll have to do a bit of thinking. Hate you for being in Palm Beach. If it weren't for your birthday, I'll call you what you really are for being there. XO. Hillary Clinton.
What's the point of having her up there as the representative? She's in the files too. Ain't that's a conflict of interest? What the hell? Why would your lawyer be there and that lawyer's in the Epstein files? Yo, these people just doing what they want, man. They playing in our faces.
They doing whatever they want.
These people are doing whatever they want, and they know they can do whatever they want. That's why they able to play in our faces like that, because they know ain't nobody gonna do nothing about it.
Nothing gonna do nothing. Nobody doing
That's
nothing
crazy
about
though. The lawyer, how you got your lawyer with you, and the lawyer is in sending emails to Ghislaine in the files. A friend of Ghislaine is Hillary Clinton's lawyer at the deposition. That shit make no sense. It's like the lawyer and Hillary need to be asking questions.
This is the world we live in.
That my dear friend.
This is the world we living in. So don't expect justice. The only way we're gonna get justice is the people get up off their asses and do it themselves.
Right.
Because without that, these crimes are gonna continue, and they're gonna get more and more open about it because they know nobody's gonna do anything about it.
Right.
And that's why they letting their crimes get exposed now, because they like none of these people gonna do anything about it. They don't care. Like it's like we can finally reveal ourselves to the people, and they just gonna accept what we do.
Yeah, reveal ourselves.
They conditioning us to accept what they do. And they know they got people so divided, because people get more mad at their neighbor than they would these wicked politicians doing what they're doing. People get more so get mad at the person that they see every day.
Right.
So they know they got us. I mean, I don't see people coming together at all, to tell you the truth. It's just too much division. There's just too much division. And then you got these idiots out here who think Trump is put in there to make a difference, when that Trump is literally a part of these same people. Like, people don't realize that they made it look like Trump was against Hillary and the Clintons, but when you actually do some digging, you will see Trump, Hillary, and Bill, they were all close. They was always close.
Yep, and they was close with Ghislaine and
Epstein.
Epstein.
Yep. They were always close, and still are, but they gotta act for the cameras to act like they're against each other.
Right.
Because nothing's really gonna get done, because Trump could really get Hillary and them locked up if he wanted to, being the president.
Yeah, he definitely can.
He ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, we have to lock himself up as well.
He ain't gonna do that though.
Right.
Because they all part of the network.
Right. He would have to put himself in handcuffs right along with them, because he was associated with Epstein too.
And I know some people don't want to believe this harsh reality, but it's the truth. Because you got some people out here who's really diehard on Trump, thought that Trump was gonna come in and be somebody different, not realizing this dude is literally one of the main ones who's been with these wicked individuals. He's one of the main ones, always have been. Always have been. Trump is no different than all the rest of them. It's all a psyop, man. They when they was doing the little debates when Trump and Hillary was running for office, and they was doing the debates, and he was saying he's gonna make sure Hillary gets locked up and all. He was saying all this stuff, but it was all political theater.
Yeah, he was there just doing this 1-2 with the wrestling. It's like wrestling. That's
Right.
it.
Yeah, none
Go
of
out
these
there to put on the
politicians is
show.
going to save. None of these politicians are going to save you. None of these people that you look up to, a lot of them, most of them are wicked as hell, and they don't care nothing about you or your kids or nobody. They don't give a shit about you. The worst thing you can hear at your door is knock, 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 knock. We're the government and we're here to help. That's the worst thing you could ever hear in your life. We are the government and we're here to help. That means they're there to pillage and kill and kidnap and rape and whatever else. That's what they're there to do. The most wicked. United States is one of the most wicked governments on the planet, if not the most wicked government on the planet, besides Israel.
Yeah,
Israel and the
Israel,
United
I
States
say
are
one of the same.
wicked.
Yeah, I consider them one and the same
Yeah, right.
because they both operate off the same order.
Yep. Yeah, the American people been sold out a long time ago, and we're living in a system of being sold out. And you know, most of our generation was born in this wickedness, and we think this is just how things supposed to be. And our grandparents sold us out. Our parents and our grandparents sold us out. You could go all the way back to the baby boomers and before we got sold out. We was always told, if you know, you listen to you know what I mean, go to school, get your education, you know, pay your taxes, keep your head down, listen to authority, you'll be all right and you'll be successful. And that was the complete opposite of the truth. It was all slavery. We all got sold out. We all got, everything was a lie. Everything they told us was a lie. All of it. All this and a lot of people, unfortunately, a lot of people still believe in these lies. Like you still got people walking the planet right now who believe in the moon landing. People actually go back and watch that footage and think that shit was real. That's how fucked up our brain. That's how fucked up the brainwashing is. That we can actually look at those with our eyes, all the technology we've seen, all the videos and all the stuff that we've seen with our modern technology. People can actually go back and watch those moon landing tapes and them launching off of the moon and still say that shit was real. That's insane to me. That type of brainwashing is insane to me, bro. Like this is like an episode of Black Mirror. Like this Earth right now is like literally like an episode of Black Mirror of how far the brainwashing go on this planet. The fact that people still believe this two-party system in the United States, and people actually, you know, arguing with their family members and their neighbors and all that, believing in this whole Republican and Democrat shit, like that too, right there, that type of brainwashing, it blows my mind. It's like we in an episode of fucking Black Mirror or the Twilight Zone or the Outer Limits, some shit like that. The Alfred Hitchcock episode, like we in some like nightmares type of shit right now of the brainwashing that people. It's like, damn, how could you still believe anything you was told from this system? Anything? How could you believe any of it? Like, I don't even know how people can believe any of this shit. Like, it was 100% lies. We've been taught 100% lies. This whole system is a scam, and the people that's running it are killers, murderers, rapists, drug dealers, human traffickers. They're the nastiest people on the planet are the people we paying taxes to. The nastiest people on the planet. They go after people for petty crimes and all that, but they commit mass genocide by the millions. These people commit mass genocide. And then they get our military to do it. They get our military to do their dirty work. And they do experimentation on them too. At the same time, experimenting on the troops. At the same time, sacrificing them in these bullshit wars that ain't got nothing to do with protecting the United States.
I think they're going to do a draft. I'm thinking because they're already talking about, you know, recruiting people for this war. So I'm thinking they're going to try to do some type of draft where they're going to, you know, recruit you know, some of these young folks to go, you know, to take on this war. Yep.
It turns my stomach of how we just accept all this corruption and we still believe that we should be paying taxes. I be seeing people in the comments when you see these articles about celebrities not paying their taxes, and people, oh, it's one thing, you know, in this world you gotta bow down to the IRS and all, like how people be talking about this government like they God. Oh, so and so didn't pay their taxes. Well, it's karma that the IRS is coming after them because how they live their life and the stuff that they did.
Yeah.
Like the IRS and the government is God himself punishing people who do wrong.
Right.
Like
right.
The type of brainwashing I see how people are with this government and how they believe everything and how they still believe that this shit is for them. It's insane to me. The brainwashing is insane to me. When they going around sacrificing kids and human trafficking and drug and mass genocide, they doing all this shit, and then the same people in the same breath would be like, yeah, Jesus this, Christ that, and it like people who's supposed to be into God and all that, but they bow down to the government. When you read,
it sounds like more programming to me.
All the people who followed Jesus, they were against the government. They were complete anarchists. They was complete anarchists.
And they acted as such. Right.
Yeah, they acted as such.
They wasn't cowards. They wasn't cowards.
He was always on the run from the government because the government, the Roman government, all of them was always on their ass. Or the Egyptian, you could always go back to Moses' time. Like the government was always the fucking enemy in the Bible. So why everybody who's supposed to be upstanding Christians and upstanding this, why y'all so for the government when the government has always been the fucking enemy? The government is the enemy in the Bible too. Read your fucking Bible.
Yeah, the thing about it is, I think what it is the people are. I mean, I think is because there's so much going on as far as like people being distracted by the nonsense, and you know, and everyone's going along with it because that's what they've been, especially being born into it, and then you happen to, you know, go through it like from your generation to generation. Because the parents ain't really know no better, so they only taught you what they knew. We go to these educational camps and get programmed, you know, by these Rockefeller centers. Right. I'm talking about school. And that's what happens. We're taught from young that you have to go to school and learn, and you know, and learn to be an obedient citizen. Yeah, indoctrinated to be an obedient citizen.
That's why
you have to go to college so you can work. Yeah, like so you can, you know, work for the system. You got to go to college. So we're born into a system that was set up and created for us before we even got here. And eventually, I mean, if it's meant for you to wake up at a certain time in your life where you can actually wake up to the program and then actually break that, then that's a good thing. But some people don't. Some people don't. You know.
Somebody asks, why are they letting us know all this information then if there will not be any consequences? Because they're conditioning us to accept who they are.
Nah, and the thing is basically coded where they have to tell us what's going on anyway. And now really it's up to the people to decide whether what they're going to do with that information. You see what I'm saying? So that's why they do it in ways where they, you know, they put it in movies, they put it in, programmers, they put it in movies and TV shows, and it's always all over the media, and, you know, so these things, you know, they have to put the plan out there. They have to tell us what they're doing. It's like part of universal law.
And plus they're conditioning us
karmic
to
law,
accept,
right?
plus they're conditioning us to accept their wickedness and accept the fact that they're ruling over us. Because look, they openly do these crimes right in front of our faces and no one's doing anything about it. That falls right into their plans. Their plans is to one day be able to come out and show us who they are, and there's nothing we could do about it. That's their plan. Because they don't want to hide anymore. It takes too much energy hiding all their crimes. They want to just be able to just do all their crimes right in front of us. Right. And we accept it. And then we're close. Like the brainwashing is so bad that these people believe that their favorite politician and their favorite celebrity and their favorite this is so pure because they've been put in position and basically their image been shaped like that artificially to the point where you believe that your politician have a right to kill you or kill anybody in your family or kill your neighbor for believing anything other than what they tell you. That's what they want. They conditioning us for that. And you can't condition humans. You do it from generation to generation to generation. About time they get to a certain generation, you born into it and you like, well, the politicians, they got all the power. They allowed to kill us. They allowed to do whatever they want to us. And that's where we headed. Because we all know that these people are guilty. We see all these motherfuckers on the Epstein files and all. We see how they operate. We could look around and see how they operate. Look how they killing all them people up in Palestine and all that. Nobody's doing nothing about it. Nobody's doing nothing about it. That's what they like. They like being able to do their crimes and get away with it and know that nobody's going to do anything about it. That's their end goal. Because then they can implement their system 100%, because the system that they about to implement is basically going to expose everybody, including themselves, but they still want to keep their power even after being exposed.
Right.
Because that'll give them absolute power. Now they have the ability to track anybody who have any type of disagreement with them and kill you right away, whether it's right or wrong, kill you right away, and nobody can be able to do nothing about it. That's their plan. Because with this surveillance state that they got, all this monitoring shit, all this surveillance through your phone, through your laptop, through your Ring doorbell, through your TV, through your Alexa, through your Siri, through your car, these wicked individuals take control of all that and be able to attack you based off what you say through those devices, based off what you do through those devices. That's absolute control.
Yeah, not just attack, but the thing is
absolute control.
Linked to a social credit system where anything you say you could be violated against, and they could basically turn your monies off. They could turn your ability to maintain this society off, especially by the click of a button. Basically hold you accountable for shit you say and violate you.
And at the same time kidnap you and use you for spare parts. If one of these wicked individuals need a new heart or need a new lung or need a new liver, they just, this person got bad social credit score anyway. Society ain't going to care about them. Let's just kidnap them up, cut them up, take their organs and give them to the elites that need them. That's the system that we're in. That's the system that we're like. If people don't wake up now and do nothing about what's happening now, that's where we lead. That's where it's being led to. Like, this is how bad it is. Like, just think about it. All of our tax dollars are going to these very same people who's doing kid sacrifices and worshiping Baal and all this type of shit. Our tax dollars are going to these people. That means you work extra hard, all them hard shifts that you work, and you see all them deductions from taxes. Those tax dollars are going to these people who are sacrificing babies and all of this shit. Do y'all understand, like, how extreme that is?
Yeah, that's very
like you working, your fucking feet hurt, your back hurt, you tired, you going to work, working hard as shit, and it's going to money. The money is going to people who are sacrificing kids and base. Yo, do y'all understand how crazy this is? Like, let's just put this into perception of what's going on here. Let's put this into perspective. Are we not mad enough yet?
Nope.
Are people not mad enough yet? Just think, every time you go and you pull off them 8-hour shifts or those 14-hour shifts or those doubles that you pull off, just think that all that tax money that's coming out is going to people like Epstein.
Yeah, I think it should have been outreach when this Epstein shit came out. I think that was a sign for the people to wake up and be like, you know what the fuck is going on with this shit? Why is all these these people, because Epstein already had been convicted, so they released all the files and shit when the nigga's dead and Ghislaine is in jail, and so we like, all right, the operation still continues. Like it's more Epsteins out here. It's more islands, more Epsteins, more crime, criminal activities taking place. We talking about a global criminal syndicate, crime syndicate, global. And all these people was at the center of it. The Clintons, Trump, the Epsteins, all these Bill Gates,
Bushes,
Bushes,
all these
Lex
motherfuckers, all
Wexners, and all these
Obamas.
the corporations.
Yeah, BlackRock, Vanguard,
These major corporations. Like a lot of these people was at the center of this, this global organization. Sex trafficking and drug trafficking, murder, torture, all that shit was in the Epstein file.
Right.
All that shit was in there. Torture, all that shit was in there. Like Prince Andrew, like the monarchs over there in England and Norway and all these different places and shit. Dubai. Yeah, Dubai.
Epstein working for the Rockefellers and the Trilateral Commission. Yeah. And basically the Rockefellers being representatives of the Rothschilds in the United States. Yeah, all this shit is all this shit. And you just think about it. All the tax dollars is going to missiles that's bombing up elementary schools in Iran and bombing up elementary schools in Palestine, killing off men, women, and children. That's what your tax dollars is going to. Like, that's crazy. Like, y'all people not mad? We're not mad enough yet?
Nah.
Are we still going to accept this? And they stealing all the money. And they stealing all the money and devaluing the dollar, making you have to work harder to make sure money gets to these wicked individuals so they can do more wicked deeds. Are we not tired yet?
I think because we are under the false pretense of that we still have freedom, So they put you under this false pretense.
Who the fuck still believe that?
That you still have because you're able to still move about freely. You still have a choice to choose between your favorite drink, Pepsi and Coca-Cola. You still have choice. You still have a choice to whether you want to do this or that. Like, so that's what people is under the false pretense that we still, because we able to still choose on simple shit in life, that when it comes down to really down to the nitty gritty of choosing, the real choices do you have the willpower to resist this government and the tyranny and the shit like that? That's where the true power lies, if you able to start saying no to that shit.
We got the freedom of choice. We think we free because we able to vote for whatever wicked person we want to, and we think we still got that concept in our head that there's a lesser evil to vote for. When they all wicked, when they're all doing mass genocide and sacrificing men, women, and children. Like, there's no lesser evil. When they're all involved in that, there's no lesser evil anymore. Like, that shit, that's a cop out.
When there's a exposure like the Epstein files and all these major people are in there for crimes and shit against humanity, and the people does nothing about it, that says a lot.
Right.
Because you gotta think about it, nothing like this ever had happened where people of importance has gotten exposed for this type of atrocities. Like, this, some major shit. And I think this was a test from God with this Epstein shit being put out there like it did. This was a test from God to the people. What are you going to do about this? Because you got to think about how this all played out. Whether it was planned or not, whether it was planned or whatever, it's still, it still happened. It still came out. It was still something that was an eye opener to the people. It was something that some people could look at like, this is the shit that's really happening. This is the hot wickedness, the high places that the scriptures talk about. Like, the most wickedest atrocities that these people have done. That's why I got this background on here, just to show y'all this. I know it's AI and shit, but just to show you the type of shit they into. The rituals, the satanic rituals and the sacrificing and, the shit that they into.
Damn.
Yeah.
And
so
continue to
It's a
fund,
big,
and we continue to fund these individuals and vote these people
yeah,
into office. So
right.
the people who don't vote at all, I think they're the most righteous. Those of us who, because you're not voting for any of this wicked shit. Because both sides are wicked. Whether you voted for Trump or Kamala or Biden or Obama or fucking Bush or Reagan, it don't matter who the fuck you voted for. Clinton,
And the
it
thing
don't
is,
matter
I
who
think,
you voted
right.
for. They all involved in this shit.
And we
All of
can't.
them.
And the thing about it, we can't judge nobody for voting because that's just what they. It's a part of the system that they only know.
Well,
Yeah, I mean
I'm
that's.
talking
You know what I mean?
about the most
So
righteous people are the people who don't vote for none of this shit.
right.
But we've been told that we don't have an opinion because we don't vote. That's what people been telling us all these years. You don't have an opinion because you don't vote. Well, the fact that I haven't voted for any of these Epstein clients. You have if you voted. If you voted for one of these motherfucking Epstein clients.
Yeah, because they always
engaged with
part of it.
Epstein.
Yeah.
Right. So
And I think
what does
people
that
don't.
say?
I think people don't want to take accountability for that. That's the thing.
Oh, we fucking done that.
That's what it is. It's like, all right, you know you fucked up voting for this individual, but are you willing to take accountability for it?
No. They
See,
still
that's
gonna blame the people who don't vote. They gonna say, "Oh, this is your fault because you didn't vote for Kamala."
But this
like
shit
Kamala would have been a better choice.
Yeah,
None
but
of these
they don't.
motherfuckers
But then
is
this shit
gonna
supersedes past left and right. This is a.
fact. It's
This
a
is not one
global
of.
thing.
Yeah,
Right.
this is a global organized crime that supersedes past Democrat, Republican. This shit is.
Facts.
This is a whole nother beast we talking about. When you talk about the shadow government and the darkness and the wickedness in the world and the shit that take place, the unseen and all that shit. This is what we talking about. This is giving you a glimpse. This Epstein shit right here gives you a glimpse of what's taking place. Every once in a while in the world, throughout history, we able to, the veil gets lifted and we get to see the most darkest evil shit. And right then and there, it's up to you to make a choice. It's because the darkness, all this shit always get revealed. It's just a matter of time when. And it don't matter if it was planned or not by the elites and all this. Either way, the shit has to get revealed regardless, no matter in what form that it comes. So now it's like, all right, you seen some shit. You peek behind the curtain and you seen who the fuck the wizard was. What you gonna do about it? You seen who the Wizard of Oz was. You got a glimpse, to peek behind the fucking curtain and see who's. So now what? And that's the crossroads we at now, is the crossroads of what are the people going to do about this when the next time the election comes and they tell you gotta go out there and vote. Now they saying based off this war and this shit like this, they saying Trump actually staying there for a third term based off this war shit. You know what I mean? So
a third term. That right there, that goes to show you that would be a dictatorship.
Yeah, it's a dictatorship.
He ain't gonna get
pretty
no
much
third
the
term.
style.
He ain't gonna get no third term,
I
man.
think you're right. Nah, they saying that based off if this war carries on,
that's bullshit though.
Something in place where he could stay in there for a third term.
Nah, that's bullshit because there's been wars when presidents transition. Look, that Iraq shit and Afghanistan shit was going on, and we went through Bush, Obama, you know what I mean? Damn near all the way to Biden. With those conflicts and shit still going on. That's bullshit. That's just more if he get a third term, just know that it's 100% dictatorship. That's being controlled by Trump ain't the real dictator. Trump wouldn't be the real dictator. It's people behind him that's telling him what to do. But he ain't getting no fucking third term, bro.
Right. All right. So Franklin D. Roosevelt is the only U.S. president in history to serve a third term, breaking the traditional two-term limit set by George Washington. Elected 4 times, 1932, 36, and 40. In 44, he served from 1933 until 1945 during his 4th term. So, all right, let me see the context. Our context: he ran for a 3rd term in 1940 due to the instability of the Great Depression and the onset of World War II. So that's what I'm saying. That's why they saying he's able to. Trump might be able to serve a 3rd term. It depends on the war, because the last one was Franklin D. Roosevelt, so serving a 3rd term during World War II. Says the opposition is while he won, the move was controversial, leading to eventual ratification of the 22nd Amendment in 1951, which officially limited presidents to 2 terms. Legacy: FDR remains only president who served more than 2 terms. So it was Franklin D. Roosevelt during World War II. He served 3 terms. So that was the Great Depression and World War II. So that's what we're dealing with. So that's why they saying Trump possibly could serve a 3rd term based off if this war carries on in the Middle East, and they start drafting folks and drafting people, and and basically carrying on, that he might be able to stay in there for a 3rd term. Yeah, it's the shit we facing, man. Some dictatorships type shit. It's a dictatorship disguised as democracy. Shit ain't no democracy. It's supposed to be a republic, where, you know what I mean?
A democratic republic.
Right. But yeah, that's right there showing you that shit crazy. Yeah.
Well, I guess the American citizens, I mean, is up to the American people to change things. Your favorite politician ain't going to do it for you. And that's basically the gist of it. That's what it boils down to. The people have to come together and change things. And people, voting ain't going to do shit.
I think only thing that really changed things and move the needle is financial votes, where you're choosing to do with your money. And it needs to be, a situation where it's a collective. It's a collective of people that's deciding to say, no, we don't want this. We want to shut everything down. Because the people have the power to shut shit down too, not just the government. All these government shutdown shit ain't nothing if the people decide to shut down. So that's everything. Everything stops when the people stop. So you get enough people to campaign, to say no to all this shit and make demands. Sort of how they do in prison when they shut the prison down and they go on strike, and people want to, not go on strike, but the people, want to make demands and shit. Shut everything down and make demands. What are they going to do?
It's never going to be on the same page.
And that's the thing. They do a good job of keeping people separate. Because you can get 20 million people. How many people is in America? About 360-something million people in America. If you got 20, 30 million people, 50 million people that campaigned and got on the same page with just, we ain't going to work today. We ain't buying shit. We ain't going to work. Well, look, this is the demands we want. This the changes we want to see. And until we see these changes, nothing's happening. If 50 million people do that, that's just gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt they motherfucking. That's gonna hurt them financially. Just 50 million people are gonna fuck them up. Yeah.
Yeah, and if 50 million people decided not to pay taxes, they can't go after everybody.
Yeah, they can't lock up everybody. Ain't enough. First of all, ain't enough prisons and jails to hold everybody. And what they gonna do? So that's what I'm saying. So it's gonna have to come to that point where the people gonna have to make a decision as a collective. Yeah. And the thing about it, people always looking forward to a leader and shit. Everybody looking to a leader. This is where you gotta start leading yourself. Saying fuck a leader. Individual leadership lead to a collective of leaders of,
collective of leaders, right?
yeah, like a collective of leaders.
To be able to guide the system where it needs to be.
Right.
And there's a lot of people who's in position to do that. There's a lot of whistleblowers who came out who would be perfect to be able to lead, because they at least know how systems are ran and know how the system will be able to be ran without all the fucking corruption.
Right.
Like, those people would make the best leaders to help restructure everything. But that shit ain't happening because the people is too divided. People still divided between black and white, Christian and Muslim, Christian and Jewish, Jewish and Muslim. People still divided between fucking sexuality. People still divided from fucking diets. Even niggas is You got people getting violent at fucking vegan protests and people going to the vegan shit with eating meat, and the vegans getting mad and swinging on them and shit. Like it's like people just too fucking divided.
And the thing is, when you start seeing you know, united fronts and shit, like, and I'm talking about grassroots, not commercialized TV shit where the mainstream media is telling you what to do. I'm talking about grassroots movements from the bottom. I think it should be a collective of cultures that should be intertwining with each other and getting on the same page when it comes to this government. I don't think it should be like, all right, this group over here and that group over there and this group. I think people should start collaborating ideas. That's the only way it's gonna happen. Like you seeing prime example, you see Jewish communities protesting against the Zionist Jews that want this war against Palestine and Iran and all that shit. They're burning the Star of David flags in the street. But then on the flip side, you have Marine vets, like military vets, that's not going along with it, that's protesting. So imagine if they all collaborate together, like the Jewish people that's imposing this war, and then you got the military people that's opposing this war. Imagine if these people got on the same page and got together. That's what I'm saying. People got to start showing that shit.
All right.
People got to start
that
showing
do happen.
that.
It's just not highlighted. That stuff do happens. It's just that it's not highlighted, and if it gets too big, then the government starts sending their motherfucking operatives in there to break it up.
Yeah, they start sending
and they use the media to make those groups look bad.
Right.
They send an operative in there to do some weird shit, and next thing you know, the whole group look bad, and the media is constantly feeding the people, propaganda about that group. That's how they operate. It's going to take an educated, self-educated society of people who's aware of how wicked this government is and how it operates, for people to even be able to form groups up like that and to be successful. It's hard to form groups up like that because they always send their federal operatives in there to control the opposition, and then they use the media to make the group look bad.
Right.
It's the same tactic.
Mike said, is this war a distraction? I think what's the distraction is why the mainstream media reason. Well, my bad, I wouldn't say mainstream media, but this administration reason for going to war is a distraction. That they going under the pretense of that Iran is a threat and they got nuclear weapons, but that's not the case, because I just read the case earlier of why they really going in there. Let me pull this back up for y'all just in case. That's the distraction. The distraction is the reason they're saying they need to go in there.
And that's every war. They always have the reason that they give is never the real reason.
Right.
They not telling you that they just going in there to take all their resources, because that's basically what it is. And when they take their resources, it's not like they doing it for the United States citizens or the Israeli citizens. They doing that shit for themselves. So they take all these assets from these countries, but the people don't benefit from that shit. And why would anybody want to benefit from that? Why are you taking from another country for what? When we got our own resources that we need to be focused on.
That's true. Yeah, that's the real reason I go in there is for the resources. So the resources, I think it's oil, crude oil, gold, silver. Matter of fact, I got the list right here. Pull this back up. All right. So 208 billion barrels of crude oil. That's worth 13.9 billion trillion. My bad, 13.9 trillion. It's the third largest crude oil reserve in the world. You have 1,200 trillion cubics of natural gas, worth 3.18 trillion. It's the second largest reserve in the world. Then you have 320, I think it's tons of gold, which is worth 54 billion. And then apart from that, it's you know, silver, lithium, iron, and other natural resources. So that's the real reason why they're going into Iran. It's not because Iran is a threat, because they already said throughout 10, 20 years ago that Iran was never a threat to America. They never had nuclear weapons, or they was never a threat. So that kind of rules that out, because y'all already said that. 3 administrations already said that. So what's the real reason they going in there? It can't be nothing but these 7.3 trillion of resources that they going in there for. Same reason why they went into Venezuela and kidnapped the president and his wife and took the oil reserves and gave it to Israel. That's all they doing. They going to land and taking this shit over. Because they want to take these resources and build a whole new system with these resources. Yeah, so that's the plan. Yeah. We said look up. Said in your strongest coordinates, go look up the word Salpix. Let me see. Let me see. Make sure y'all check out our website. This live stream is sponsored by 90dayherbals.com. Make sure y'all check us out. Our website, we sell all natural herbal products, no synthetics, no chemicals. You know, stuff that's good for your body, good for the skin, good for your body. Herbal soaps, you know, hair products, CBD products, and all that.
Yeah, check out our high quality CBD. We got a lot of trim and a lot of CBD trim, and we got CBD cigarettes, pre-rolls, vapes, and it's all high quality. It's grown on organic soil, Amish community. You know what I mean? So it's highly nutrient dense soil, which means that it's highly effective when it comes to basically medicinal properties. We get a lot of good reviews based off of that. People say how good our CBD work for anxiety, insomnia, pain, stress, all that type of stuff. So make sure you check us out. nightandayherbals.com.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, this one of them live streams. Y'all definitely share this live stream. Subscribe if you haven't to this channel. Make sure you turn on all notifications. We will go live on this channel about these type of topics of awareness, and not just you know, same bullshit. Even though we talk about the gossip celebrity shit on 9-Day Talk Media, but this channel right here is where we bring all the, you know, the awareness.
Right.
All right. I want to play this video real quick. I don't think we played this one. Where is that? Is it this one? I think we already played this. Let me see. What I'm saying?
Chosen by the Mothers of Darkness and the Satanic Council. So I had a lot of experiences with her in Chicago in the early 1980s, which did include, witnessing, I'll just say, multiple murders. With the hunting parties, I witnessed one of those in 1982 at the Rothschilds' Black Forest Lodge. The elite who are healthy, who are well, who are younger, they would release the children that they would hold captive in caverns around that area, usually at dusk, and then they would hunt all night for the kids. But they would release them and hunt for them. That would include, rape and then murder. For the older individuals who are, not able to go out in the woods, they're getting older, they will have the youngest children inside the house. So they'd have those who are like 5 and younger in the house. Older people would hunt them within the house or the lodge. Usually, like with the ones in the house, they would just be raped and used for sex magic. They wouldn't necessarily kill them. Hillary was specifically chosen by the Mothers of Darkness and the Satanic Council.
Mothers of Darkness and the Satanic Council. That's who she was part of, allegedly. Yeah. I don't know, y'all. Guess that's it, man. We're gonna get up out of here, man. Make sure y'all subscribe, like this video, share this video. Definitely appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all click on all notifications. Click the notification bell. Even if you subscribe, still make sure you click the notification so you be notified when we go live. So y'all won't miss anything. Even if y'all don't tune in, y'all still get the notification and catch the replay. A lot of people like, I ain't see y'all. I ain't even know y'all went live. Well, you got to turn on your notifications. Sometimes you got to reset the notifications. Click on it, click off it, click back on it. Just click on all notifications. So I appreciate y'all. Yeah, appreciate y'all tuning in. We gonna catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.
If you crave nature but still shop online, Night and Day Herbals is your dream come true. Discover premium herbal soaps, shampoos, and CBD products. All organic, all for you. Shop now at nightandayherbals.com.